Yo, fellas, hopefully all of you are packed with bacteria today. Because unfortunately, these mouths in the background are not the main focus. Because we are back at it again, straight up unboxing it. This time, the Ultimate Fusion DX set. One set required in order to turn the fine belly all into the hamburger. Now, without further ado, let's get these bays unboxed. So we got the bays out, and comes with some instructions too. You know what? Yeah, let's just straight up unbox it again. So starting out with the most simple part, the launcher. The Spider-Man launcher even. Comes with the left and the right part. Comes with the left and right DB launcher, the power core. Or whatever this part was called. And a thing here to connect the launcher together. Comes with a bearing. Like this one right here. And yeah. See, there's not really much differences with these two, but this one's more thick. And this one's more clear. Like a like a driver, for example. But anyway, yeah. Now since we're done with the launcher, launchers, we can now get onto the bays. I say, as I have to put the stickers on. But thankfully, these stickers don't look too hard to put on. Unlike for these three. But yeah. So I'm just be doing that real quick. So we've got the bays fully assembled. That thankfully took less time than those three over there. So let's just get started. So for the first bay, we got King Helios, MR. Hold up. For the first part that we'll be going through is its driver. Called Zeal. Zeal's a free spinning balance type driver. Yeah. Pretty cool, honestly. Funny thing, in my opinion, there's a Hasbro bay named Zeal. Well, Hasbro bay named Zeal Achilles. But you should know Quad Strike and Quad Driver mid. Well, not mid, but literally the OR seasons from Hasbro, so we don't talk about Quad Drive here. But for our next piece, we got Giga, which is a disc that comes from Perseus and some other bays. Yeah, not really much to go over, but it's a really good disc. Now for the most important part, the bay itself, Helios. Well, King Helios MR. Cool thing about the bay is that you could detach the layer. How you do it, don't really know, but I honestly forgot how to detach the layer, but basically this ring, as well as the Super Ring from Hyperion, you can fuse them together, hence the name, the Ultimate Fusion, hence the reason why the set's called the Ultimate Fusion DX set, since you could like detach these two parts and fuse them together with these two parts. So yeah. Okay, the armor, I forgot the name, but I'm pretty sure it's called 10. And it originally came with Phoenix. Well, came with Phoenix. So, yeah. Anyway, if you have two of these, you can make King M. Yeah, and if you have two of these, you have King R. Well, you can make King R. So, yeah. Anyway. So here's the bay when fully assembled in low mode. Here's the bay when fully assembled in high mode. So yeah, now let's just move on to the next bay. So for the next bay, we got Hyperion. Hyperion's an attack type. And, oh yeah. Hyperion has a pretty cool driver in my opinion. It's called Explosion, if I remember correctly. And basically, what Explosion is, imagine Destroy, but if it had a child, well, imagine if Destroy and Child did the deed with each other and made this. A free spinning driver. With the same rubber hardness as Jolt, if I remember. The same free spinning thing that Destroy has. Look at that. Even has a little symbol thing at the bottom that Jolt has. Yeah, pretty cool. Now for a disc, we got Tapered. Tapered's a disc that comes from Phoenix. Whoops. Yeah. Not that special, honestly, but and for the armor, got two, which is an armor piece that comes from Belial 2, actually. And now for the most important part, which is the lighter itself, which is Super MR. Has a rubber side and the metal side. Oh yeah, and little fun fact about these two. That I forgot to mention while I was going over Helios. Both of these rings are dual spin, so you can put any left and right spin bay on this. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, just like with Helios, if you buy two of these, well, if you buy two packs, well, if you buy two Ultimate Fusion DX sets, you can make Super M and you make Super R, aka Super, but both sides are metal. So yeah, take that into fruition or whatever. We'll consider that if you're willing to waste $100, of course. But anyway, hold up. Here's the bay when fully assembled in low mode. And here's the bay when fully assembled in high mode. So yeah. Now for the final bay, and which in my opinion is the most important bay out of all of them. Divine Belial. Divine Racism. No, I'm just messing with you. This is not the dust, but yeah, this bay has some pretty good parts. Well, in my eyes, at least. For the first part, I'll be going over Bearing Drift. Bearing Drift is a good part, competitive-wise. And it's pretty good stamina-wise, too, from what I've seen. After all, I did own a certain Lucifer Beyblade. And I'm pretty sure one of y'all have probably seen the shorts of Barricade Lucifer. So yeah, I have high expectations for his driver. Hopefully it performs as good as Mobius Drift. Even better even. Or even better even. Now for our next part, which is Nexus. Nexus is basically the Nexus part of All Might, but as a disc, as a regular disc, instead of the fuse disc driver thing, like next, like how All Might is. Hold up. You can attach the D gear, and you can attach the S gear onto this. But in my opinion, if you have BU bays only, I think you should much more ratherly put the D gear on this bay. Yeah. Now for the fun part, which in my opinion is the most important part. Divine Belial 3. So Divine is pretty mid. If you don't have the A gear, of course. But yeah. And but the important parts is not the ring, but the attachment, the armor, and the core. So Belial 3, if I'm right, should be pretty good in terms of teeth. And if you couldn't tell, there's a little burst hopper in the core, similar to Belial 2, but better. Well, similar to Belial 2, but cooler. And yeah. And the armor. Well, the armor attachment. Right. It's called the H gear. And it's only compatible with Divine. And you can put it in low mode, or you can put it in high mode. And for the armor, I low-key forgot the name of, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be called, well, it's supposed to come with the H gear, too, so, well. Anyway. Actually, you know what? I would low-key love to switch the modes this thing is in, but don't really feel like it. So I'd recommend watching a showcase from another VTuber, so it is what it is in the end. Just watch another showcase from another VTuber that's clearly better than mine. I'd say like Zanky or Beyblade Geeks, for example, but yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah, forgot to mention. So basically, the H gear comes with these little nubs right here, which are called the BU locks, and basically make it harder for the bay to burst. And if I'm right, every BU bay comes with this. So yeah, it basically makes it harder to assemble the bay. So yeah. Anyway, now for the best part. The battles. So for the battles, I handpicked these bays myself, so oh yeah. Anyway, for the battles, these are the bays I chose for Hyperion. I think I'll be letting him fight against Belial and Belial and Valkyrie X, so yeah. So for the first side, I'll just be starting off with Helios. So for the first battle, I'll be making Helios fight against Josie Valkyrie X. Without further ado, 3, 2, 1. Holy. Well, I was not fucking expecting that. But anyway, Helios gets that first point, so without further ado, let's move on to this next match. He's doing like 0 damage to bro. He's losing stamina. Yeah, I'm gonna just give that one to Helios, honestly. I seen him spin. I seen Valkyrie stop spinning for a bit. So, and the burst stopper for Valkyrie almost activated, but oh well. Okay, now for the final match. 3, 2, 1. And Helios wins that last match. Life after death caught me off guard for a bit, honestly, but anyway, Helios passed the first trial. Now on to the second trial, which is against Phoenix. 3, 2, 1. I think Helios might end up being cooked here, honestly. Because that roller driver is nothing to be messed with. Hold up. And unfortunately... Yeah, I'm just get that one to Phoenix, honestly. Anyway... On to the second match. 3, 2, 1. Phoenix just killed himself. I'll restart that. 3, 2, 1. Wonder if he's gonna make that armor fly off Phoenix. I put in heavy mode earlier, so... Yeah, Helios is falling. He's not going to win. And unfortunately, Helios loses that second match. So without further ado, let's move on to what I'm just going to assume is this final battle. So without further ado... 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Helios is cooked. That stalling strat that Phoenix has is just going to end up draining his stamina every time. Oh wait, never mind. Phoenix loses that match. So without further ado, in that case, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm just give that one to Helios, honestly. I see him spin slightly longer than Phoenix, so... Yeah, I'm just give that one to him. 3, 2, 1... There goes the armor already. Yep, Phoenix is low-key cooked. Oh yeah, I forgot that lower attack capability. Yeah, I think Helios is cooked at this point. Yeah, huge mistake on Helios' behalf, honestly, just for knocking that armor off. If I didn't aggressively launch Phoenix, then yeah, he would have probably won that. But nonetheless, Helios unfortunately lost that match, so without further ado, let's move on to this next match, which is this Perseus against Helios. Without further ado, 3, 2, 1. Hold up. Yeah, Perseus is probably going to end up bursting. I can see it. Perseus might just end up bursting. And I was fucking right. Hey, no clicks on Helios, so without further ado, let's just move on to this next match. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. And yeah, Helios is cooked. Yeah, I'm gonna just give that one to Helios, honestly. So, without further ado, let's just move on to his final match, which should hopefully be light work, no reaction for Helios. And that match in question is Union versus Helios. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. I thought Helios was actually going to lose that for a second, but turns out I was wrong. Would you look at that? Got one click off of the Pro Series Bay. Well, got one click from the Pro Series Bay, which I was honestly pretty surprised about. So I thought one of these other nerds were going to do it. Even Perseus even, but turns out I was wrong. So 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Does Achilles lose or does Achilles win? And Achilles loses that second match. So without further ado, let's move on to this final match. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Helios is gonna end up winning this match. I accidentally did some, so may have slightly been slowed. And Helios wins that last match with that impressive life after death. So without further ado, let's move on to the next section. So for the first match of the next section, it'll be Josie Valkyrie versus Super Hyperion MR. So without further ado, let's get this party started. 3, 2, 1. And Brody's had to kill himself. 3, 2, 1. Holy shit. And this fucker's gonna end up killing himself. And never mind, I was wrong. So the fucker did not end up killing himself. But Nonetheless, though, I'm pretty surprised how the Valkyrie managed to not even get one click off of that. Anyway, without further ado, let's just move on to this next match. So 3, 2, 1. And Helios Hyperion wins that second match with a ring out finish. So without further ado, let's move on to his final match. Unless Valkyrie decides to make a comeback. 3, 2, 1. You know what? I'm gonna just give Hyperion that one. So, Hyperion wins that final match, so it's time to move on to the next match. So for the next match, strongest jolt user of today against the strongest jolt user of history, which is Josie Valkyrie. So without further ado, let's get this first match started. 3, 2, 1. Valkyrie managing to get one point off of Hyperion. Now for his next match. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that Valkyrie just killed himself. Let's redo that. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Valkyrie is not going to end up surviving this. Yep, that was right. So that second match goes to Hyperion. So without further ado, let's get this final match started. If it's the final match, of course. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm gonna just redo that. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm gonna just give Josie Valkyrie that second point. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm gonna just redo that. Worst thing about it, I might actually get all the stoppers out too, so, 3, 2, 1. I don't think Hyperion liked that. And unfortunately, Valkyrie excels due to scraping, so without further ado, that makes Hyperion the champion of this. So without further ado, let's just move on to this next match. 3, 2, 1. Holy shit. Is Apocalypse just going to get slapped around or what? Yeah, I'm just saying that was a tie, honestly. 3, 2, 1. Hold up, this bum just falls off the launcher. 3, 2, 1. And this bum just killed himself, so let's just redo that. Bro. Hyperion gets that first point. And another thing, Hyperion managed to lose 1 click off of Hyperion. 3, 2, 1. Three hits. Holy fuck. And Hyperion gets that second win off of Apocalypse. Well, second point off of Apocalypse. Now let's move on to his final match. 3, 2, 1. 1. Hold up. This bum just fell off the launcher again. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm gonna just give that first point, well, give that third point to Apoca. Nah, I'm just messing with you. 3, 2, 1. Holy shit. Hyperion manages to get that third point off of Apocalypse. Now let's move on to this final match. Now for his final match, it'll be Hyperion against Belial. So without further ado, let's see who's gonna win between this DB and BU. Yeah, I'm not even gonna count down. The worst part about it is that I even managed to activate the overdrive mode for Belial. So let's just run that back. 3, 2, 1. And only one end of contact off of Hyperion, so and I managed to get the overdrive system kicking too. So let's just run that back again. Now 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. The brutes decided to not kill each other. We'll kill themselves this time. Now, no clicks off of Belial, but the overdrive mode was activated yet again. And 1 click off of Hyperion. That's good. Now let's move on to his next match. 3, 2, 1. 1. Come on, get out. And you're just a bum. Let's redo that. 3, 2, 1. Both of these bums decide to axe themselves again. At this point, I'm gonna just probably end up light launching Belial for safety. Yeah, I'm gonna just give that a second, but the Helios. Hyperion. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there you go. Here's our grinding. And Hyperion manages to get that final point off of Belial. And only 1 click was activated. Well, 1 click was gone off of Belial. And he managed to get the overdrive out. And for Hyperion, none. So without further ado, let's move on to this final section. And P.S. I decided to change around some of the bays too, so it is what it is. So now let's just continue. So for the first match, it'll be Harmony Pegasus versus Devon Belial. Now look at that. Now look at the stamina on that beautiful bastard known as the driver. The life hacker death is gonna be crazy on this fucker. And I cannot wait to see that in action. But unfortunately, he did not go into Ultimate Overdrive. So let's just move on to this next match. 3, 2, 1. I swear to God, if I did not at least activate one stopper. And Belial wins that second match, and if you guys couldn't tell, I'm actually got that beautiful overdrive burst stopper out. But I think I'm gonna start light launching Belial now for the sake of not wearing its teeth down. And actually, no, yeah, that's honestly just the only reason. Now let's move on to this final match and watch Pegasus get humiliated. Watch Pegasus get humiliated. And the scraping too. Yeah, this motherfucker's cooked. And if you guys can't tell, Belial just humiliated the fuck out of Pegasus. So without further ado, let's move on to this next match. So for this next match, it'll be Perseus, the strongest bearing of today versus strongest bearing of history. Now, without further ado, let's get this party started. And if you guys can't tell, Belial made bro explode, so let's move on to this next match. Let's watch Perseus explode again, guys. You beautiful bastard. You magnificent bastard. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the next bay, which is Phoenix. 3, 2, 1. If this would be the regular drift, and this motherfucker would have been going berserk around the damn stadium. Roller 1 versus Roller 2, but Belial unfortunately dominates that with the burst stopper out. No clicks off of Phoenix, and no armor falling off too. 3, 2, 1. Belial gets that second point, so without further ado, let's move on to this final match. Decided to give Phoenix a little advantage and launch Belial first, so let's see how things get changed around. And Belial unfortunately gets cooked. But it might end up changing, you don't know. 3, 2, 1. Hold up. And this motherfucker just fell off the launcher again. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, and the armor fell off. Well, unfortunately, this motherflumper got cooked. And one click off. Well, for Belial, none. So without further ado, let's move on to this final battle. So for this final battle, you could really consider it as an evolution battle between Belial 3 and Belial 2. So without further ado, let's get this final party started. 3, 2, 1. So Belial just blown up the instant I launched him. By the way, Belial 3 almost blown up too, but thankfully, BU lock stopped it. So 3, 2, 1. Holy shit! Don't knock the damn driver out. God damn. Alright, good. Things still good. But anyway, I'm gonna just give that first one to... Let's just say I'm gonna just give that first one to Belial. Now, let's move on to his... Well, those first 2 points to Belial. So without further ado, let's move on to his next match. Don't... Holy shit. Yeah, this match is just low-key explosive at this point. These motherfuckers manage to find ways to kill each other over and freaking over. So yeah, let's just move on to this next match. I guess Belial 2 doesn't like having a new Belial around, huh? 3, 2, 1. Belial manages to get that. Belial 2 manages to get those second 2 points with the overdrive system. Well, I did launch him on his respective launches, so maybe that probably played a role. But oh well, it is what it is. Now let's move on to his next match. The final match, actually, probably. Please tell me at least an overdrive first stopper came out. Two burst or not the burst. And Belial 2 wins that final freaking match. Unfortunately, Belial 3 got surpassed. But anyway, time for the final part of this video. Part where I make all 3 bays face off against each other. So for the first part, I'll be making Belial face off against Hyperion, and Belial face off against Helios. So let's get this party started, fellas. Ooh. And Hyperion manages to exhaust the fuck out of Belial. Now let's move on to his next match. Hold up, and the bay just fell off the launcher. Hold up. 3, 2, 1. Baron Drift. It's 1-1. All things even. Perfectly balanced as all things should be even. 3, 2, 1. Hyperion manages to get that second point off of Belial. Now let's move on to this next match. That Melsop must be really doing a lot of work in that bitch. Unfortunately, it's all tied now. Without further ado, let's move on to his final match, probably. Yeah, bro just ended himself again. Yeah, I think Hyperion might end up just kicking the bucket on this one. So yeah, Hyperion really did just kick the bucket, so Belial, thankfully, wins that final match. Now let's move on to the next one. Helios versus Belial. Let's see who wins. So I may have accidentally just launched bros onto each other. I don't think Belial is going to be bursting anytime soon. And Belial gets that first point, surprisingly. So without further ado, let's move on to this next match. Would you look at that? Half HP. Not that bad, Belial. Not that bad. 3, 2, 1. W camera quality. W camera. Oh, shit. And now Helios gets that second point. 3, 2, 1. Holy fuck. Holy shit. You can just hear bearing on that damn driver. You know, I'm just calling it match a tie. 3, 2, 1. And Helios gets that second point. 3, 2, 1. Now you're probably wondering, but my nigga, you already said 2 points for Helios. I meant that as in the second point awarded to Helios. Well, the second point was awarded to Helios. So yeah. Anyway, Belial gets that second point. So without further ado, let's move on to this finale. It could go to either one of them. 3, 2, 1. Now who wins? I'm gonna just say Belial won that. So without further ado, let's move on to this next match. So this time I'm gonna be giving Helios a turn. So without further ado, let's get this match started against these two goofballs. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I actually light launched that. Yeah, I don't think Helios is gonna win this one, gang. And Helios wins that first match, so without further ado, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Hyperion might end up just getting kicked, honestly, at this point. Give that second point to Helios. Without further ado, let's move on to this next match. 3, 2, 1. Hold up. Readying my launch angle, then bro decided to fall off the launcher. So peak for real. Now it's just run that back. 3, 2, 1. Hyperion finally lose. And unfortunately, Helios gets humiliated by his by his son Hyperion. So anyways, now for the final part of this video. So yeah, how would I rate these bays out of 10 or out of 4? Low-key, I'd rate Helios 3 out of 4. Hyperion a 4 out of 4, and Belial 3 out of 4. But nonetheless, though, they're all pretty peak in my opinion. And how would I rate the launcher? I'd rate the Spider-Man launcher pretty peak. So yeah, get good value out of these bays in my opinion. And got a really cracked driver. Good core, and if this is your first Beyblade set, and you get your first, and you're just achieving your first set to complete Divine Belial, so if you don't buy all the bays required to complete Divine Belial, it will cost you $192 off if you're going to buy all of them off of bays and bricks. So yeah. Anyway. I'm probably going to end up buying Burst Spriggan and Ultimate Valkyrie next, honestly. Because those are 2 bays I've been having my eyes on for a bit, so... yeah. But anyway, well... actually, you know what? Yeah, I just want to say something. So, here's a little story. Unrelated to the video, by the way. But yesterday, I was playing Kirby Triple Deluxe on my humble modded 2DS XL. But unfortunately, when I hopped on, the first thing I seen was an error occurred. So, when I exited out that little pop-up that appeared, I was unfortunately greeted by Kirby no longer in the Hypernova and in his base state. That made my heart drop and almost destroyed my day, too. But thankfully, when I rebooted the game, my data was back. So due to my 3DS being a homebrew, well, 2DS XL being modded and all, I decided to back up all my shit that I had in my pocket. All the games I had in my jacket pocket, since, well, I usually keep the games I bring to school there. And I decided to just back them all up. So yeah. If you ever have games that you don't touch for a while on a modded 2DS XL or modded 3DS or whatever, I just recommend that you back up your data, in case if your data ever gets corrupted, so yeah. But anyways, without further ado, that ends this video. So all I just gotta say is, see you guys later. I might end up doing another Sincere's Beyblade tournament soon, so look out for that.